and happy at anything they choose to do. Parents have a responsibility to support that, and the younger generation will learn effective interaction with peers in their healthy family environment, and also learn to resolve their own issues to become successful individuals. Thank you.
When I read these papers and hear the talks, I am so optimistic about the future. Let us have a couple of questions before we have the honorary winners and the teachers come forward. Do we have some questions of Leland and Elizabeth? One of the things that goes through, yes?
Well, I would like to make a comment. I'm Dr. Swat. I'm her mother, Daji's mother, Dajanaba, mom, and this gentleman, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry. You made a very good point, and I want to, it kind of brings home, you know, for me, with all of the children said, and lends an air of optimism about policy being written, you know, into the future about the job thing, because our own situation was a very unique one, whereas then I walked away from what most people would have considered a brilliant medical career in Texas, and I had to make some sacrifices and some changes because I had 2 teenage daughters. And, you know, I might not be making as much money as I could if I was still plopped up in, you know, Methodist or St. Luke's or everything, but the sacrifices, you know, are worth it. And that was part of that parental responsibility that, you know, Elizabeth spoke about, you know, about what sacrifices, you know, do we all have to make, you know, to come together. And sometimes it comes down to a humbling of the family and making the choices, you know, that are best for the family. And my husband also, very interesting story, her dad got laid off in 2003, and we panicked because, you know, he's like, I've got a wife, I've got 3 children. At that time, I was still a fellow, wasn't making, you know, a ton of cash. But it caused him to take one of his natural talents, get very creative, create his own business. He hasn't gone back to corporate America since and everything, and we take our children to school every day, and we pick them up every day. And the first thing we do is, how you doing? What's going on? And I know more gossip in Harmony Science Academy than any other teacher. I know everybody's business, you know, and that's something I'm really proud of, that, you know, I made that sacrifice to walk away from the big city medicine and being under somebody else's schedule and thumb, that I could develop a relationship with my children. So I think to hear all of these children speak has been a great and proud thing for me, and I just want to thank the Gulen Institute so much.
And I think that her, like, taking up her parental responsibilities, that her degree and my dad's degree, it doesn't matter. The wealth doesn't matter. It's if you have love. Like, that's what makes me happy, like, that you love me and that you take time to show that you love me.
Yes, I completely agree with you, and it was so great that you could make the sacrifice for your family and develop such a great environment, and to also have your daughter come up here and tell us her ideas, that was wonderful. And I feel that everyone can do their part. It doesn't have to be momentous, and no one has to jump a cliff to do it, but all it takes are the little things. As I remember, someone mentioned in their speech a quote from Mr. Gülen, or was it Mr. Gates? I don't know. Sorry. But small steps really do mean a lot of things, even for a family. To take the small minutes that you have with everyone and make them important and significant, and that's how you develop a great relationship with your family.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
I'm mainly just going to be agreeing, but yes, I agree that the little things do add up to the whole. Every little thing you do with your family, it is just going to add up to increasing your relationships with everyone. Well, that's about it.
Thank you very much.
I think the panelists have provided wonderful information and ideas for the average typical family. Unfortunately, there are a lot of circumstances, a lot of instances where perhaps because of illness, because of mental disability, because of drug or alcohol abuse, the family doesn't work. What do you think society's role is when the family can't support itself?
I think that each family is so diverse and so ever-changing that sometimes it's difficult for a policy to be captured by the government where it can apply universally to every single family. But I think that a paid vacation would be awesome for America to give. It would be great. I'll try, thank you, sir. But I think that what it really comes down to is for there to be able to be something to fall back on. If a family isn't experiencing difficulties because of, like you said, alcohol abuse, they should be able to find help. And if the state could provide that help, then they should try their best to do it.
So your question was about if the family cannot help itself, basically. Sorry about that. So I think the state should help as well. There should be policies for that. But then there's also the interactions between other families as well that will help as well. And that if every family is strong as it is, then it's going to be able to help other families. And then you could basically have a family of families to help each other out. And also the government should also help as well.
I'm a teacher. I'm 68 and I'm still teaching. I've taught since I was 21. I'd like to say that when a kid reaches 5 or 6, that kid spends most of his or her waking hours at school. If the family can't or won't do it, then the schools must do it. So the whole day I've been thinking that these kinds of symposia need to involve schools more, because I hear so many teachers say, well, it's the parents' job. And that's absolutely true, but if the parents won't or can't do it, then it's the school's job.
Exactly. The consortium of family, school, community, this is our task. I'm reminded of a Turkish proverb, Kalem efkarin tercümanıdır. Thought is communicated and interpreted by the pencil or the pen. Kalem, correct my pronunciation, please. Kalem efkarin tercümanıdır. Well, I think that this is an example of what the British study pointed out, that through writing we can somewhat find meaning even before we didn't have the meaning before we wrote. And I find that the growth through writing, as exhibited here, warrants a great deal of optimism for the future. And I want to call upon my colleague Kamal to present the awards for this session. And thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gage. And I'd like to give another proverb, this time from English, which is much more about family relations. Blood is thicker than water. So we always have friends at some point of our lives. Elementary friends from our neighborhood, friends from military or another profession we do. But we have only basically, in its simplest terms, we have only one family. So whatever, of course we don't deny the importance of friendship, but it's a different realm, it's a different area. But all in all, in our life, we get our biggest support from the parents. And as Gülen Institute, we believe that a healthy society could be maintained with the help of a healthy family. And if we see family as just a part of a small or short-term experience, we cannot get any fruit from this. But if we see this as a long-term, maybe everlasting experience, then we will maybe provide the sound foundations of a society. That's why we try to bring our students here and give their opinions and ideas about the family issues. That's why we believe that family, as the smallest unit of a society, is maybe the most important one at the same time. And with this opportunity, thank you so much, Dr. Gage and Dr. John Paul, as the discussants of this session. I'd like to call, first of all, the speakers to the stage, and then their teachers, and lastly, the students who was awarded as honorable mention. And I'd like to, with your permission, I'd like to start with our speakers first, and they will give them certificate of excellence and at the same time a very modest honorarium. Of course, it's not going to match their effort and all their struggle to come here and get ready for this event, but again, it's some kind of encouragement for them. So we will provide small honorarium for our students as well, including the honorable mention students. So let's start with the order in my hand right now. I'll first call the students maybe to here, and then I'll call the person who will present the awards. And let's start with Leland Swenson. You can wait here because I'm not going to present the awards. And the second person, Claire Lake, Zara Khan, Jabana Aswad, and Elizabeth Jang. To present their awards and to not to make him feel lonely there, I would like to invite Dr. Gage. Next up, please stay here. I'd like to invite the valuable teachers of these students. Unfortunately, one of our teachers is not attending due to emergency, but I would like to start with Russell Rack from Bel Air High School. And Kate Devaney Brown from Houston Academy of International Studies. And Ishan Nal from Harmon School of Excellence. To present their awards, I'd like to invite Dr. John Paul to the stage. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we are going to have the students with honorable mention. They also sent very well qualified papers, but unfortunately, like I said before, we had limited space. That's why we had to award them with honorable mention, starting with Jonathan Nguyen. Nelson Grajales, Jose Cantu, Pedro Cortez, reach a trend